Ladies and gentlemen, good evening or good morning. This is another day and a very important one because we are talking about project objectives, and this is actually one of the most important aspects of project design because they say, English people, they say, if you don't know where to go, you won't know how to go there or how to reach there. So it's very important that right from the beginning you have the right skills on how to elaborate or to design very important, very appealing project objectives. A project actually distinguishes two different categories of objectives, and these are global objectives and operational objectives. And global objectives actually for a project, it's very important to note that it expresses a generic finality and answer the question, for what purpose will this project serve, and should align with the corporate or the institutional strategic plan, or it can be either within the ministry where you want to act or to implement your project. Under normal circumstances, actually, a project has only one global objective. If it goes beyond one, then we're talking about a program, actually. And a global objective always should have the word contribution. Contribution in what, in which area, which sector, and in which country. That's very important to note the three important part of the global objective. It has to be contribution because uh, the global objective actually is beyond the institutional capacity to deal or to solve the problem, which is usually bigger than your ability as a project. If you are working, for instance, in the educational sector or in the health sector, the issue you want to tackle is not your own ability. You don't have the necessary means to handle it alone. You're making contribution, and the ministry within which you are planning your project has a strategic plan on how to deal with the health related problems, and you are to align with their strategic plan, and you are making contribution actually. Besides, you are not the only one. There are a lot of other NGOs, other institutions also who are working in the same sector, and these are other contributors. And you are just a contributor. So you can imagine that the youth unemployment can be a huge issue, and you are one of the contributors. That's why the word contribution should be always there within the global objectives. So let's check on some of the good and bad formulation of global objectives to illustrate what I just said. We have number one, contribution to education and technologies of moral intellectualism among the youth in Congo. So you check always if we have the three main parts of the global objective. The way the contribution is there, you contribute in which area and in which country. That's correct. This is very good formulation of global objectives. Ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Check well here is not well formulated. Why? Because there is no We are lacking the word contribution, and we don't know which country. The country is not mentioned, so it's not a good formulation. Contribute the reduction of plastic waste and environmental pollution in dollar by promoting sustainable recycling practices within 6 months. Czech beverage is a very good example to illustrate the common mistake which are usually committed with the formulation of objectives. Yes, contribution or contribute is there, and in which area it's fine. Second part of it, in dollar it's good, but in which country? Sondola is a region or a province or district, I don't know. So we should know in which country actually. So that's one. And secondly, by promoting sustainable recycling practices. So by promoting, that means this is a means by which you, or these are strategies through which you want to implement so that you achieve the objective, the global objective. But these are specific uh, areas you want to involve in, and this has no place on the global objective actually, because these are part of the operational objectives, so they are not to be here. And on the global objective, there is no time factor which should be included. No, it's not. There's no time factor. There's no space for this as well. So if I try to reformulate this objective, it can be to contribute to reducing plastic waste, environmental pollution in dollar in Zambia. Full stop. That would be a very good uh, formulation of a global objective. So we have contribution or contribute, in which area, in which district, and most especially in which country. All these three elements, please ensure that you have them within your global objectives. Part B, the other categories of objectives, these are operational objectives. And these are commonly known as specific objectives from many, even among the uh, experienced project managers. But I would say this is a very common mistake. From now onwards, please do not talk about specific objectives. Start using the expression of operational objectives. And I will tell you why. I will tell you why. Just hold on a bit. I'll tell you why. That's some in a few seconds following. Because and note that here also that within a single project you are required to have at least between 3 to 5 objectives. Now, operational objectives, actually, these are called operational because you see within operational you have the word operation. And operation refers to the period of implementation of your project, which means if you have a project which is going to be implemented within 2 years, all the operational objectives that you set within the 2 years should be achieved within the 2 years. Or that comes after the project period are not called objectives, but these are going to be called expected results, can be expected even beyond the project implementation period. So that's the reason why these are called operational, which refers to the word operation. Operation, that means the period of operation of your project implementation period. And they must be smart. I believe you know what SMART means. This is an acronym which stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. Now, you understand now the reason why I earlier said that should not be called specific objective. Specific is only the first factor of the SMART acronym. So you cannot say the objectives are specific. No, they are not specific only. They are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. None of them should be put aside actually. So you understand now it's not justice. You won't be doing justice to the objective if you call them just or specific. No, these are smart objectives or operational objectives. Please note this one. I insist. I won't be happy if I see again one of my students using this expression as specific objectives. I guess very well understood. Let's check on some of the good and the bad examples. Okay, start from here. Now, if we say training of young graduate on agribusiness entrepreneurship, this is very badly formulated because we don't have a metric here. It's just we don't know which youth are we talking about, how many. It's not measurable actually, and time factor is missing here, so it's not smart. Training of 100 young graduates from Kigali on agribusiness entrepreneurship within 3 months. Observe very well. It's a smart sentence or smart, but it's not an objective actually, because training itself is not an objective, but it's an activity that you organize to achieve something. So what do you want to achieve by organizing the training? So there lies the issue, because objectives goes beyond activities. So activity are just means by which you achieve your objective. So you ask your question, for what result does the project designer would like to achieve through the training? I believe we organize trainings because we want to empower, we want to equip with skills, we want to that's it. So if you say, for instance, to equip with agribusiness entrepreneurship skills, 100 young graduates from Cali within 3 months, that's fine, because this one then becomes excellent and fills in the gap for the first and the second example. Briefly speaking, a smart objective should answer the question what, for whom, and how many, and when is this expected to be achieved. Great. Now, time expression always causes issues. This is an area I want to come back again to emphasize on certain things. If we say for 2 years, to empower young graduates for 2 years. Now, for 2 years, we know the period that action or that objective to be achieved, but this has no reference actually. For 2 years, in which period? From when? There is no reference of starting and ending time actually. So we know the period is 2 years, but is it 2 years from now? Is it 2 years from 2030 for 2050? From when? That's the problem. So please don't use for 2 years. In 2 years, And by 2027, today we are 2025, the two actually in reality are not bad, but they are tricky. They are tricky actually, because imagine if you are making a project proposal today, 2025, and your project is getting founded after 1 year, 2026, and the objective is to be achieved, we last for 2 years to be achieved, it means by 2027, you won't be able to achieve your objective. So that's where it is tricky actually. So the best expression to use, the best expression for time is within. Within is a technical expression, which means you count from the time your project begins, and you count 2 years and you achieve the objectives. So within 1 year, within 5 months, within 6 months, within 2 years, these are the best expression you should be always using for operational objectives. Some of the other example of good and bad formulation, I wanted to come this one to re-emphasize on the issues here. If we say to provide employees with training, these are some of the examples given by students. So I think we can check some few of them to illustrate and be sure you really understand how things are supposed to be taking shape in the right direction. So this, you understand, is not a good formulation. Employees. Who who are the employees and how many? And time factor. None of them is present here. As can be, if I try to rework on this, keeping the same idea, to empower 20 employees. Yes, now this can be measured. And we know those employees are very specific on which area and within 3 months. Great. And then within the first 12 months, improve literacy rate among primary school students in target community by 20%, and so on and so on. So here is a good formulation, but the issue is this: can this one be achieved within 12 months? It sounds rather like an expected result, which comes as a consequence of organizing or sensitization. Parents, they send children to school, and we've taken some of the strategies to maintain children in school. Then, as time goes in the midterm or intermediate, few years later, you get the literacy rate improved. So this one, I would rather see it as an expected result. So always be careful with that one and ask yourself, is this one going to be achieved within a time period of the project? Because these are operational objectives. Again, I come to the expression operational, means all the operational objectives should be achieved within the period of implementation of your project. What comes after the period are not objectives, but rather expected results. So we shall come to this subject of expected results later on. But just to show you how we reflect when we are formulating on operational objective. Reduce plastic waste in dollar by 10% within 6 months. This sounds fine. Okay. Now here, note that the objectives should be aligned chronologically from the shortest to the farthest. That means you check within your objectives which one is to be achieved first. So like here you have 3 months, That should be the first objective. And then 6 months follows. That should be the second objective. And then if this one is an objective also, 12 months comes last. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. I think this going to be already mastered, and you are to exercise and design your own global and operational objectives for your project. Remember, a project should have one global objective and between 3 and 5 operational objectives. Great, that's it. See you next on the next lesson, and I wish you all the best. Bye bye.